This is Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. This is the first video I'm experiencing with a dark room and a flashlight, trying to create some type of visual effect without getting too complicated. So I have a flashlight, I'm in a dark room, I got a flashlight, I got one cell phone where I'm going to read some notes from, and in my other hand is a cell recording this. Anyway, so far I'm happy with the effect. Alright, so amigo, in Chennai, I chatted with Kamlesh, a tax preparer in Mumbai, the IRS, U.S. federal tax man in Mumbai, tax professional in Mumbai. So this relationship is severed. He has noticed the business relationship between the Chennai company and Grant Thornton is now severed. What is left for 2016 taxes, I, Tom Duty, will complete. So a couple of things in airing company grievances. I explained how Kamlesh, an irritation for me is your constant need to remind me that on paper, I, Tom Duty, am the CEO. We've told you repeatedly, and you just can't seem to treat my Chennai amigo as the CEO. He explained that there's a missing document preventing him from doing that. Now this is very irritating to me because I said, Kamlesh, this is crazy because 2016 taxes, we began preparing them in the early months of 2017. Now you're telling me a year later that we're still missing a very basic document. A document that shows who is the highest level of authority of the company. I don't want it to be me. Functionally, it should not be me. And yet you haven't gotten that document from us. And you're still whining about it. So there's no excuse. The time has passed. Relationship severed. I'm just airing grievances before we kiss this relationship goodbye. I said, in addition to that, the IRS noticed that we used the wrong form. Given the tenuous nature of this relationship, that has added to the problem. So the tax prep fee still needs to be paid, and that has to be paid in U.S. dollars. I will follow up to see that he gets paid. Then I move to my taxes with HANA. So I explained to Kamlesh that every year I will remind him that allowing me to pay in Indian rupees saves a $45 international bank wire fee. And every year he says, Tom, you have to pay in US dollars. So for me to have the option to pay Indian rupees to an Indian company in India, their bank is, the wire goes to the HSBC bank in Delhi, even though Kamlesh is in Mumbai. It seems crazy. I'm sending money to Delhi for an Indian company and I have to pay in United States dollars, even though I have a free option to pay in Indian rupees. Now, anyone can do the math to say if every single one of their U.S. clients pays and they're wasting $45 on every wire, then all they can do is set up a U.S. bank account and then all their clients pay into that U.S. bank account, and then they wire in bundles. It's the same $45 either way. So to me, it's a very testimony of an amateur company, which they are not. So why they don't see this my way is an ongoing irritation for me, but it's their money they're wasting, not mine. So I just said every year I'm going to make this speech, and every year I'm going to remind you, and you probably need to make a speech, which he then goes again, a speech I've heard 100 times into the speech. And I said, are you done with this speech now? I interrupted him because I'm sick of hearing the speech. Are you done with this speech now? And he said no. And he kept making his speech. Now, he was on a speakerphone, and for reasons that's hard to describe, it has to do with me and Hannah and the ongoing relationship with Kamlesh. This turned out to be very funny. Are you done with the speech now? And Kamlesh says no and continues to make the speech, where I made it very clear I had heard the INR USD speech every single year, and I didn't need to hear it again, but he needed to make the speech again. And then I went on to say how we have found an alternative, a business alternative in Chennai, Vanud, and I have reminded him that he's in a very specialized field, Indian tax professionals who prepare taxes for the United States clients, for U.S. IRS taxes. And a couple of years ago, when we tried to find someone local in Chennai, we didn't, but now we have, and that's the alternative. I said, I want to be sure you understand that I have, on the subject of Hannah and me, I have chosen you for good reasons. And those are very simple. I was so tired of finding a new tax preparer every single year because of my series of relocations in the early part of my professional life, that I wanted to get one person I could stay with. I wanted that person to be foreign. I wanted that person to be younger than me. I have chosen you for good reason, Kamlesh, and I have stayed with you for good reason. Hannah still loves you. I still love you. I said, you have lost an opportunity to retain a paisano, but you have kept your Americanos. So, to my friend in Chennai, business partner, this is an unusual situation because I, for very good reasons, severed this relationship with Kamlesh today for the business taxes, but yet I stay with it for personal taxes. Now, this is a really subtle yet relevant point in tax preparation. For me, it requires a history lesson to imagine why I would stay with this guy, with these frustrations. And the reality comes to this. It is probably an overreaction of mine to the frustration I had with American tax preparers. And it really stems from this. You talk to any tax preparer, they'll want to make an appointment and have you bring in their papers. Well, I detest paper. And I detest face-to-face appointments where I seem to be imprisoned in their office to interruptions they might have, waits that I might have to suffer, under deadlines that are looming. And it just is a circus I got so frustrated with. So for me, to find a foreigner that not only prefers no paper, we cannot use paper. It's got to be PDF and email. And in this tax year that just finished, 2017, Kamlesh now has the Hannah and Tom documents, and of course, not a single shred of paper to be able to do that. And to be able to get him those documents in this phone call, he verified he has them, and we're on our way to another year of tolerating Kamlesh's idiosyncrasies. What we have to tolerate is now some idiosyncratic behavior that we become familiar with. So it's not a big deal. Now, when I look at the failure of this Kamlesh attempt to broker a relationship between Kamlesh and you, my Chennai amigo, is this idea. I was basically trying to build a house of cards, a fragile relationship between two Indians, and I'm trying to kind of step away from the relationship to hopefully get it going on its own. And it didn't work. I mean, that's business and that's life. Some relationships forge and strengthen, and others don't. But the good news is taxes did get filed. We met the deadline. We haven't paid the tax yet, but I'll be sure that gets paid. And now we're going to switch to someone local to you in Chennai, Vanud, and it is my hope that becomes an annual long-term relationship, because and this is an important thing, whether I get what I clearly get what I want with Kamlesh. I get this. I tolerate his frustrating manner, but it's a predictable annual frustration. And taxes are emotional. Taxes, there's some level of intimacy. Taxes have some anxiety of deadline. Taxes have a potential to explode in catastrophic ways and rip apart people's financial life. And in effect, rip apart their plans for the future. It's really frustrating. And it's important that it gets fluid, even if it's bumpy. If those bumps can be expected and predicted, then the emotional side of it smooths out. So I have gotten that with Kamlesh. And amigo in Chennai, you've seen the relationship attempt to be forged and then fall apart. And now you're embarking on a relationship with a tax pro in Chennai. And it is my sincerest wish that not that this is a kiss of death by any means. This is the opposite. It will have some shortcomings. He looks better than Kamlesh, but that doesn't mean much right now because Kamlesh really failed us. So the fact that Vanud is off to a good start is a reason to be optimistic, but he's also an American tax preparer, and I'm telling you, whether in India or the U.S., they're all the same. They think everyone else that does the work they do sucks, and that they're the one person you need to come to, and I have no reason to believe Vanud will follow these negative stereotypes that I've had reinforced by so many of these people. But Kamlesh has some of the same reinforces many of the same negative stereotypes I have, and that frustrate me to no end with American tax preparers that sent me screaming to another country and hooked me up with Kamlesh. I predict that some of those will exist with Vanud. So I am creating this video to kind of kiss this Kamlesh relationship goodbye and give my blessing and best wishes for the Vanud relationship. But I think what this young company needs most of all is to get some fluid, annual, I don't mean every month, every day, worried about taxes kind of relationship. We want taxes to become an ongoing event that's not stressful, an annual event that is stressful, and then it's done. The tax preparation and paying the tax has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it consumes a month or a month and a half and not a year. So far, one tax year has consumed more than a year, and it should consume the better part of a couple of months. So it is my best wish that Vanud gets to that place with us. This young company deserves to be focusing on what has made it successful so far, and paying taxes should be like meeting the obligation of a vendor and not an all-consuming thing like it's been with Kamlesh. So I'm staying with Kamlesh. I'm wishing the best for this relationship with Vanud, with some warnings that some behavior like we've seen with Kamlesh is predicted by me and to some extent should be tolerated. The plug should be pulled on Vanud if there's good reason to do it. But at the same time, picking a tax pro, knowing he or she will not be perfect, but yet making some personal pledge to stay with that person has some benefits. And even though this relationship with the company rattled apart, the relationship with Hannah and I has sustained itself and ironically reinforced itself through this event. I mean, Hannah and I were truly laughing at this moment. Are you done with this speech now? And he said, no, and continued to make his speech. Now, remind you of the sound of his voice. He sounds like if there were a reincarnated Michael Jackson, this is roughly what he sounds like. So for him to say no and continue to make a speech that I really didn't want to hear, to me was very funny. And Hannah thought it was funny too. And it's those type of events that can reinforce a relationship that seems to hold together when there is no good reason for it to hold together. I hope some part of this is helpful. I hope some part of this is humorous. And off we go. Ciao. This has been Tom Duty, middle-aged American living in New Jersey near the Lincoln Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Duty in a Google search from my site. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, good evening, or restful night's sleep. Ciao. And I really will watch this video. This is the first of this visual effect, and I don't think it'll be my last. Ciao.